Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar from Qualifio. It is our first product update from 2022, and we are here to highlight our new features in Qualifio Engage. So my name is Tabata. I am product marketing specialist at Qualifio, and next to me we have Olivier, our very own head of product. We're very excited to have you all joining us here today. So the goal of this webinar is really to highlight some initiatives, some projects and features that go along your Qualifio license. At the end of this webinar, you will know all about what our team has been and is currently working on. So that's it about us. But now we want to know something about you. So you will see there is a small poll question that is going to pop up on your screen about now. And the idea is just for us to know a little bit more about what kind of job you are doing, what kind of team you are working on, so that we get a better sense of our audience today for this webinar. So we will have a few more polls like this during the webinar. So please take a second just to select the accurate answer for you. I think we'll have two more. And I see we have the first results coming in. Okay, a lot of CRM and data people.
Content and editorial managers as well.
Okay, maybe like a few more seconds so that everyone gets a shot. Okay, so while we have the last answers coming in, before we get started about Qualifio, just want to share a few items with you so that you know how to participate in today's event. So first, of course, if you have any question about the platform, about the topics that we are going to discuss, please feel free to send all of your questions using the Q&A box in the panel below. We will do our best to answer as many questions as we can during the webinar, but otherwise we will come back to you later via email. So really, don't be shy. So also note that this session is being recorded. It will be available on demand after the end of the webinar, and you will also get the presentation. And finally, 45 minutes is the time that we have for this webinar. It's going to be approximately 30 minutes of presentation, which leaves us 10 to 15 minutes for live Q&A. So I suggest we get started. If you've just joined us, welcome. There are going to be two main essential aspects that we are going to discuss here today in our content. The first one is what we have accomplished over the few months that have gone by. So we have a great number of features that we are very excited to share with you. Some of those include two-factor authentication, the new user management capabilities of Qualifio, as well as a series of tools that we have added to enhance security. You will also see exactly step by step how to manage your data retention period in Qualifio. And then the second essential part is about our future developments. So we will take a look at some powerful features that will help you reach your goals in 2022 with us. And finally, of course, you will have access to some resources that you might need to learn about and use the platform. So without further ado, let's begin with a focus on security features. So we have added a feature that is called two-factor authentication. So if that doesn't ring a bell right away, it's okay. So the idea is really that you have a new authentication method that combines two factors, so two pieces of information to verify that you are really you, and that it's not someone else trying to access your Qualifio account and the data in it. So this really gives you a better control on who accesses your account, and just protects you against the stealing of your credentials or stuff like that. Even if someone steals your password or guesses it, they cannot access your account. So the way it works is basically you enter your normal username and password, and then you are also required to enter a sort of one-time PIN code. So it's usually like a 6-digit number. And you find this code via a mobile app that is on your device. So it can be a Google Authenticator, free OTP, OAuth, but there are a lot more. Basically, in Qualifio, let's see how it works. So first, you have to enable this feature. So in Qualifio, we offer this feature at two different levels. You can either apply it to all users, so really at the account level with one click, or you can activate 2FA for a specific user. So it means that you can choose which users in your account need to log in with this extra security level.
This is particularly helpful, for instance, if you want to target solely the admins who have access to all the data of your account, more than all the users, because potentially you have a lot of users in your account.
Yeah, indeed, very interesting. And once that you have enabled this from your settings, each user that you have chosen to activate 2FA for is going to be presented with a screen like this. So to really set up 2FA for them. So it means they have to scan a code that is going to effectively link their Qualifio account with their mobile app. Once they have done this, they are enrolled for 2FA, so it means it is active. And each time that they want to log in Qualifio, they will have to generate a new code on their phone. So usually the code change every 30 seconds or so. So it means it's going to be a different unique code each time the person logs in. And speaking from experience here, this is something that you will quickly adjust as part of your normal new routine to log in Qualifio. So that's for two-factor authentication, but we have also been working on improving our data retention capabilities in Qualifio. So previously, we would already allow you to set a specific duration of time before we delete personal data from participants. But now we provide a more granular control on this because you can implement custom rules at the website and campaign level. So let's see in detail how it works in the platform. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So this is a feature that is part of our GDPR toolbox in Qualifio. So to manage the data retention settings, I'm gonna go here. Of course, I have logged into Qualifio with my account where I have DPO permission. And you will see that now there are actually 3 levels to which you can decide this setting. So first, we have the default data retention period. So this really controls the period during which we're going to keep participant personal data before it gets automatically deleted, but it controls it for your whole account. So by default, you see that this duration is 24 months, so 2 years. You can reduce this period, but it will also impact the data that you have on the CRM module of Qualifio. So let's say you want to change it to 20 months, okay? So this is all very good, and this was already existing in Qualifio, and it's very nice if you want to keep the personal data of all your participants on all your websites and all your campaigns for a set time. So this is perfect, this is enough, you don't need to do anything else. Now, if you need to keep specific data from specific campaigns during a different period, then you might need to set custom rules. And this is where our new feature enters. For example, let's say that you have a market or a brand that is required to keep personal data for a specific time that is different from the rest of your company. Then, for example, you're going to say, okay, on my website, this one, I want to retain the data only for 2 months for all the campaigns that are going to be published on this website. So it means that 2 months after the participation, the data, the personal data of the user is going to be deleted. Of course, this only applies to personal data, so really PII. It doesn't affect aggregate data like really the activity reports of of the participations. So this data, really the statistical data, is kept always for 2 years before it gets deleted, and it means that the data is anonymized during this time. Also, don't forget that as a DPO, you can view the history of changes that were made to the personal data, including to the retention periods. So if I click on GDPR logs, I will see all the changes that have been made, and I can see who did them and when. So this is very useful, of course, for compliance and monitoring purpose. So that's it for data retention.
Maybe just one word. We've seen your question, Eric. We will just circle back at the end of half of the presentation to the question of the first part.
Okay, awesome. So that's not it. Of course, we have also been working on 3 other topics. The first one is the fact that now, if you're using the webbook 2.0 of Qualifio, you can verify that the webbook is genuine and that it comes really from Qualifio and not from a third party. So this feature is optional, of course, but it's still recommended from a security point of view, I would say. We've also increased the CAPTCHA text length to 8 characters to help protect your campaigns from spam and abuse. And finally, we have decreased the inactivity session timeout. So it means that now, after 45 minutes of inactivity in Qualifio, the session of the user is terminated. So it's expired and they have to log in again with their credentials. So we wanted also to take this opportunity to highlight some existing features and settings in Qualifio that can help improve the security of your account. The first one is single sign-on. So SSO, it's a very important technology for greater security, but also for convenience, because you are using one set of credentials, so your existing company account, to log into different systems, including Qualifio. So it means if you have an SSO application, you can integrate it with Qualifio so that users in your account can use existing credentials, your enterprise account, to log in to Qualifio. That's one thing. The second, we have mentioned that we have DPO users in Qualifio. So usually appointing a data protection officer, it's really one of the first steps to manage personal data in your organization. Well, in Qualifio, it's the same thing. So we have a similar set of permissions. In Qualifio, you can appoint 1 or more DPOs. And these people are really the central persons who are going to supervise all of the GDPR compliance related matters, all the personal data related matters. So they are the only ones who can do things like, well, we've seen it, manage data retention and view the logs of all the activities related to personal data, but they can also manage all of the requests to export and to delete personal data from your account. And they are the only ones who can appoint other DPOs as well. Then 2 other things that we've recently improved or changed a little bit. The first one is that there is an expiry of accounts who are inactive in Qualifio. So it means after a user did not log into Qualifio for several months in a row, so for 12 months, it's 12 months, right?
Yes.
We are going to deactivate this user account. So it means everything stays the same in Qualifio. We don't delete anything, but this user will have to be reactivated by an administrator in order to be able to log in again in Qualifio. And finally, Qualifio is blocking anyone who tries to log in to your Qualifio account after 10 bad passwords. So this is another security we have improved. It's really designed to discourage people who might try to log into your account by just trying a potential password over and over again, and also mostly against what we call brute force attacks. So these are really automated attacks that are designed to try really thousands or even millions of password combinations to try and access your user accounts. So that's it for security. But of course, we have worked on other things as well. The first one of which being a new interface for managing users, which if you are an admin in Qualifio, you have probably seen by now. So the idea was really here to make it easier not only to create and edit and manage your users, but also to be more flexible when you assign roles to them, and especially when you have users that have access to multiple accounts in Qualifio. So we have a part of Qualifio customers who are managing different accounts, and they need to be able to have granular control on this person needs to have that access in that account and this access in this account. So basically what has changed, let's see together. So the first thing is that now when you navigate to the user screen and you check the profile of one of your users, you will notice that there is an Engage tab. It's a new tab. It didn't exist before. And it allows you to see which kind of access, which kind of role the user has in Qualifio. So if you want to assign them a role, you just select the role, select the account you want to assign, and then you click the plus button. But the updated design also comes with a feature update where now you can add multiple roles in multiple accounts. So for example, here you see this person, they have access to 2 different accounts. And similarly to adding roles, which is very easy, you can delete them super easily and it just removes the access that the person had.
And the key difference here, because you could already access various accounts before, is that you can have different roles in these accounts. So you can be the administrator of your own account, but a specific contributor with only rights to modify the campaign, not extract the data in another account. Specifically useful, for instance, for agencies that can be working for several of the Qualifio customers.
Exactly, yes, thank you. So user management, and then a couple more things. We now have the possibility for a new type of custom build integration with SSO. We were just discussing it, which enables you to limit participation to your campaigns and grant access only to users who meet certain criteria that are valuable for your business. So basically, you just apply your business rule, your business logic to design custom access rules that are based on information that are kept in your SSO or like IDP. So an example use case is you are a media organization and you have several publications and magazines, and you want only people who are paid subscribers to access your campaign. Okay, so that's one thing. So you could deny the access to a person whose subscription to your magazine just expired. Okay, they're not paying you anymore. They cannot access your exclusive campaign anymore. As I was saying, this is a custom build integration, of course. So it's very flexible, but it means that, yeah, it's customized. And so the costs of this integration are going to depend on your needs. So it's not something that you can do by yourself in Qualifio interface, but it's a new possibility. And then 2 more things. We have added new statistics on the page views of your landing page campaign. So, you know, in Qualifio, you can create different formats, including a landing page to promote some content of yours. And now you can see how many times people viewed that page. And last but not least, it is now possible in Qualifio in instant win contests, so including jackpots, including Wheel of Fortunes, to allow participants to win several prizes in your campaign. So by default, it's still the same. Each participant that comes to your contest, if they participate 10 times and they won a prize during their first participation, they will never get another prize, even if they participate a lot of times. Now you can decide to change that. So you can say, okay, one person is going to be able, in theory, to win as many prizes as the number of participations that they do in the campaign. Okay, anything else you want to add?
No, I suggest we launch the poll and answer the
Yes.
question in the meantime.
Yes, awesome. Okay, so second question for you, just to assess a little bit which ones of the topics that we've just presented were maybe particularly exciting for you or useful for you. And yes, we have a couple of questions.
Yes, so Eric is asking about the 2FA. Does the system setting visually overrules the personal setting? So in other words, when you check at account level that you want every single user to be enrolled on the 2FA, do you see it on the user level? To be fully transparent, I'm not 100% sure of the answer. So I would say yes, but I will check with the team and circle back to you specifically on that one, because I want to make sure, but my gut feeling is yes. The second question from Gimli, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, sorry. For the GDPR toolbox, what if the general retention rule is 12 months and for a specific website, it is 24 months? Will the retention for the campaign on this website be 24 or 12? It's going to be 12. So we will always use the most accurate level of retention.
No, so it's going to be 24. Eh? So if if your
Sorry,
default rule, so the default period
I mix the numbers.
is 12 months, and then for a specific website or campaign, you say no. For this one, I want to retain the data for longer. We are going. This is what we're going to say. We're going to apply the most specific rule. So the general rule only applies as long as there is not a custom rule for this specific entity. It's the same thing if you have 12 months for a specific website, and then for one of the campaigns on this website, you say, no, this should be 6 months. Then for this campaign, it's going to be 6 months. And for all the other campaigns on the website, it will be 12 months.
And this is actually why it was built for in the first place, to be able to be very aggressive on the retention period, because you know that most of the data you are pushing them to your CRM, you are integrating with your single sign-on, so you don't need to keep those data in Qualifio. But for some website, for some campaigns where you do a contest that is running a bit longer, you can put some kind of exceptions to make sure to keep that data longer for these ones. And then we have a third question from Eric. What was the session time in the manager before? So now it's 45 minutes after the last interaction. Before that was 8 hours. So it's quite significantly lower now. And but also we've been a bit more precise in the way we see the last interaction, because now if you are typing in one of the text editor, we are catching that information and postponing the session time end, which we were not doing before. So we're a bit more accurate, which enables us to be a bit more also strict on that part.
Exactly. And we have had a lot of answers coming in on the new features. Very interesting. Huh? I think we have 2 winners, which are statistics on landing page views. Yes. And data retention. So that was good that we had a question on that topic. Okay, I think we can move on to the second part.
Thank you, Tabata. So yeah, what's coming in the next couple of weeks and months? So first is actually not a new feature, but something that we are moving from Qualifio. So some of you may have seen it, but we are going to be removing the Facebook tabs publication channel from Qualifio. That will happen mid-February. Why are we doing this? Well, the first reason is that Facebook removed all the tabs from all the custom tabs from all the page, not just the Qualifio custom tabs. So that happened at the end of last year. Then in their documentation, they are no longer going to be supporting these custom tabs that's a policy that they have in their new pages experience. So it's not going to be possible in the future to create a custom tab in any case. So we decide a bit in advance here to remove those Facebook tabs. We have seen that 1.7% of the campaigns that were created last year were meant to be published on the Facebook page tabs. And well, we've really seen a decreasing of these Facebook tabs over the years, which actually makes sense because we do see that brands, the media, they want to have all the traffic and on their own channels, and really to appropriate this and to be able to be as flexible in terms also of tracking, for instance, on these channels. So it's still, of course, fully encouraged and possible to publish on a mini site, on an iframe, embedded on your website. So that, well, doesn't change, obviously, and that will remain the possibility. And I see the camera just left us, but we are still here. Don't worry about that. Okay. We have the technical team trying to help us, and we are back. Sorry about the small interruption. Then the second one, you've probably seen in the presentation, the different feature presented by Tabata, that we have put a big focus on what was related to security and privacy. And this is actually one of the last, but not the least, development that we wanted to add on that specific theme. It's what we've called the tag library. So currently in Qualifio, it is possible to set some JavaScript tags a bit anywhere in your campaign, which is positive because it gives you a lot of flexibility in doing tracking over your audience, but which led to also some threats because, well, it was very decentralized and any of your user could publish a JavaScript, a Google Tag Manager script, a Google Analytics, a Facebook script anywhere on your campaign. So searching them all would be quite time-consuming and costly. So we have decided to gather and centralize all these scripts into one single place, which will be called Tag Library, and which will hold any of your tags and specifically JavaScript tags that you will then be able to integrate in your campaign. And what we want to push our users to is to put that at the tracking tags and pixel place in the manager. It will still be possible to put it in the different steps of the campaign, but a bit with less flexibility for the editors, because all the tags will be created beforehand by an admin in that specific section. So you will be able to create a library of your Facebook, the Google Tag Manager custom tag, and link them to your website, your mini site, your campaign. And with the tracking framework, make sure it is being triggered when you are your participant, is checking an opt-in, when is submitting the form, when is reaching the end of the campaign, or on any page of the campaign if that is relevant to you.
Yeah, and I think an added benefit of this feature is going to be that you virtually eliminate the risk of manual errors. Also, when you have to copy and paste your Google Analytics tag like 20 times in 20 different places, this can lead to some errors, missing data afterwards. Here it's not going to be the case. If you do it once, then you will have to see the exact same tag everywhere, or at least you will be able to have it everywhere.
Indeed. Then we are also working on the price management section of the campaigns. So we are going to be creating a better interface, easier to work with, to view and to manage the prices in your campaigns, to reorder them quite easily so that they are shown above if you are offering a bigger price to your users. And we're introducing a new concept of limited or unlimited quantities. So currently all the prices are in a limited quantity, so you can decide to add 10,000 of price, but we'll be able to put an unlimited quantity. And this introduces a second concept which is actually a principle of proportion of probability. So with this unlimited comes the new concept of 100% winning instant win. So this is a long-awaited feature by many of our customers, and it will be made possible to have campaigns that can offer prizes to every single participation. Of course, it doesn't mean that you need to offer the same price to every single participation, and maybe you want to have 5 specific big prizes, and all your other participants, you want to offer them a 10% discount on your e-commerce or some goodies, so that you can really be giving an incentive to participate, because people are sure to win something in an instant win. And again, as Tabata said before, when we speak of instant win, we speak of the instant win format, but also a wheel of fortune, or a jackpot. And here, what we also are going to be introducing is a new kind of runner that you can see on the left, where you will be able to catch some bonuses and avoid some obstacles. So you will see this character from behind. Of course, it will be highly customizable, as you can see for the catcher that you see on the right, or any of our other formats. And this is currently at very first going to be a studio format, but that's the link on the right side. We have seen the catcher format being really not quite, but a real success via the studio team for our users. So we want to introduce it as a standard in the platform. So you will be, as a user, able to create a catcher. And the way we are going to be implementing it, it's our goal to be able to add the premium games that you see. So like the one on the left, the runner, the repeated that you have seen in the past, for instance, as new standard game that you will be able to create on your own in the platform in the following weeks and months. Of course, it doesn't mean that our studio is now out of job, less than ever, because they are really very busy currently, and we are 100% sure that will still be the case, because you can still use their skills, their creativity, their experience on the tool to create a really exciting and fantastic campaign, whether it's a catcher or a form, a sudden death, whatever the format you want to create. And actually, this is a bit of we've had two webinars about it last week, the week before, but we still wanted to remind you that actually it's not a future development, but we have launched the Qualifio loyalty platform. So it's an additional brick on the side to Qualifio Engage that really reinforces the power of Qualifio Engage to link all the interaction together. So to make really a connection between the catcher that you just played and a quiz or a form that you've completed, but also to other sources of interaction. So it's really a loyalty program, not centered only on Qualifio Engage, but also not centered only on purchases, because this is too much the case in other loyalty tools. So it's really a 360 loyalty program that enables to reward any marketing interaction that you have with your audience throughout their entire customer journey. If you want to know a bit more, of course, there are the demo the webinars that we did the last 2 weeks that you can access or request access to. But you can also directly contact your success manager and speak about loyalty to them, and they'll be gladly doing so.
Yeah, and about that, I'm curious. I mean, we're curious to know a little bit where your organization stands in terms of loyalty programs and loyalty marketing. And for that, we have a third and last poll question for you. Really out of curiosity, understand whether this is already a priority in terms of business.
Yes, and maybe to make it clear, because you're here, of course, on the Qualifio Engage webinar, so we're no longer speak about the Qualifio loyalty tool today. We really have two products now that are complementary, that are working. We have two different teams working on the two different products. It doesn't mean that we are going to stop working, stop adding feature to Qualifio Engage. You've seen it in today's webinar. That's definitely not the case. Rest assured about this.
Exactly. Okay, maybe like 10 more seconds if anyone has still an opinion. And then I think we can move on.
We can move on to the next and last items. So, well, as we will share the presentation here after this webinar, you will see all the links here, all this documentation that's been drafted by the team, and more specifically by the person that is sitting right next to me about the two-factor authentication, the multi-account users, the DPO, etc., etc. Of course, our FAQ section remains more alive than ever with the new features. And so, you know, coming soon, we'll have a portal made by developers for developers, gathering all the technical information around the platform. So some specific information about the secure token that we talked about last time, some SSO integration, GDPR API, all these kind of information where it requires a bit of code. So by developers, for developers, that will be coming soon for this resource. Anything to add about this, Tab?
No, I think we're good. Maybe this is the time for us now to see if anyone else has any more questions. I think we've answered most of them. And of course, you can always reach out to us directly, either at project@qualifio.com or through our very friendly help desk agents.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah, if you have any question about the last feature, the upcoming feature, please feel free to ask them now or later, or also via your customer success manager, who will be either able to answer directly or to redirect you to the appropriate team.
Yeah. Also, before we finish today's session, we would really like to hear from you. So when you are going to exit the webinar, you will have a 4-question survey. So please take a minute to fill it. And then, yeah, thank you, everyone. It was really a pleasure being with all of you today. Look out for our follow-up email that will have the recorded session of today. If you want to go over parts that you might have missed, or just go over the whole thing again. And yeah, on behalf of the whole Qualifio team, thank you and see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.